To Colonel Maurice Davis, who served as the chief prosecutor at Guantanamo Bay for more than 2 years. Colonel Davis, great to have you with us on RT. One prisoner claims he's been sexually assaulted during searches. Were you aware of things like that during your tenure there?
Well, I think during my tenure, most of the worst practices had stopped, but certainly throughout Guantanamo's history, particularly in the early days when we had the Bush administration telling the military to take the gloves off, that the Geneva Conventions were quaint, and we needed to force more information out of these men in that 2002, 2003, 2004 period. There are clearly things that took place at Guantanamo that we should be ashamed that the United States committed.
Clifford Sloan is a new envoy responsible for closing Guantanamo. Do you think it's a sign that things will now move quickly there?
Well, I hate to say that I'm hopeful, because I've been hopeful before and disappointed. So I'll say I'm cautiously optimistic. Mr. Sloan's only been in the job now for a week, so I think he does need some time to to get his feet on the ground and get the process moving. And it's encouraging that the president, has appointed him. But, we've had a lot of rhetoric and not a lot of reality. And we need a leader, not a lecture, on closing Guantanamo. So it's been, we're in the second Obama term now, and he promised to close it in his first term. So we need some action. I thought it was ironic, if you saw last week when President Obama took his daughters to visit the cell where Nelson Mandela was held in South Africa. And to think, he's showing them that cell where Nelson Mandela spent 18 years on an island prison, when he has his own island prison in Cuba, where we've kept people for 11.5 years. So it's a bit hypocritical to lament one and operate the other.
Interesting. So if the prison does close, where will all the inmates go? Where will they end up?
Well, the vast majority should go back to their home countries. As you know, there are 166 men total at Guantanamo. 86 have been cleared by unanimous vote of the CIA, the FBI, Department of Justice, and Department of Defense as not being an imminent threat to the U.S., and we don't want to keep them. So those 86 ought to be going back to their home countries. The majority of those are from Yemen, 56 of the 86. The Yemeni government says they want them back. So that would seem to be low-hanging fruit for the administration to be able to reduce the population. The harder part is that group of 60 that aren't included in that, or I'm sorry, 80 that aren't included in that number. There are 20 that the administration said they either have prosecuted or want to prosecute, which leaves 60 that are in that indefinite category. And, our justification has been that, we're at war and the law of war permits you to detain the enemy for the duration of the conflict. A lot of people argue whether that's a legitimate justification, but, at the end of 2014, we end combat operations in Afghanistan. So whether that's a legitimate justification or not, come the end of next year, it vanishes. So we've got to figure out what to do with those 60 men.
Yes, and how is the U.S. able to justify keeping those prisoners cleared for release jailed if the UN says it violates international law?
Well, we tend to be better at preaching than we are at practicing. We claim to be the champion of the rule of law, but when it's inconvenient for us, we just ignore it. So, clearly, the president has acknowledged Guantanamo is unnecessary. He's condemned it, since before he became president, when he ran back in 2008. So he knows what the right thing to do is. He's just got to step up and provide the leadership and make the difficult decision and close it. I mean, we're never going to reduce the risk to zero. And he's got to just stand up to the critics who are going to criticize what he does one way or the other and do the right thing here.
The hunger strike is showing no signs of ending. What needs to happen for things to change then, there?
Well, it's a sad commentary about America that it takes people putting their lives at risk. As a correspondent mentioned in your earlier piece, that they're out of sight and out of mind, and the only way the American public will pay any attention is for them to put their lives at risk, which is really, again, a sad commentary about America. But I think the president has the power to bring this hunger strike to an end. The detainees are looking for real concrete signs that their needs are being met. They're not being ignored. And I think an easy way to do that is to begin sending those cleared Yemenis back home to Yemen where their government wants them. And I think if the detainees there that are on hunger strike saw some positive action, that this strike would be over.
All right, Colonel Maurice Davis, former Guantanamo chief prosecutor, thank you very much indeed for talking to us, sir. Thank you.